Malden with Motor Racing Outreach offers our invocation.
Let's pray. Gracious God and Heavenly Father, we are just so thankful for this day, for the beautiful weather, for the opportunities we have, Lord, especially for our freedom. We just remember the men and women of our armed forces as we always do. Be with them and their families. Keep them safe. Be with the drivers, teams, and officials. Lord, let's have a great day of racing, and may your peace and your presence be with us all. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Here to sing our national anthem, please welcome Season 3 winner of The Voice and Grammy-nominated international recording artist, Cassidy Pope.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow, that is cool. What a sight. The Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the flyover, the national anthem, NASCAR racing, 400 miles from Vegas. Coming up next.
You are looking live at the most famous city on the planet. Well, okay, even stock footage of this place makes it look live. But there is nothing about this city that doesn't pump adrenaline into your system. This desert megalopolis is the world's buffet. There is something for everyone here. Anything can be bought, bartered, or bet. Some places let you do all three at the same time. New Vegas, you dress to the nines and eat a filet on the Strip. Old Vegas, it's blue jeans and hot dogs on Fremont Street. You can channel your inner Sinatra at the Nugget or go full Tiesto at the nightclubs. Either way, whatever way, you're always a winner in this town. This is Las Vegas.
We're winners because we got to hear Brent Musburger, who, of course, is going to be the voice of the Las Vegas Raiders. Awesome to hear him. So here are some Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series fast facts from Las Vegas, presented by Jiffy Lube. 400 miles, 267 laps. The stages are 80, 80, and 103. Pit road, which you guys have already said is going to be a crazy place, 45 miles per hour. Jimmy Johnson has 4 wins, and of course, Kevin is the most recent winner. You know, you can roll the dice or you can spin the wheel, however you want to do it. One driver is going to be a winner when they walk away from this track today. Check that out, guys. Have you ever driven with flown?
I flew with the Thunderbirds.
So
Only
cool.
once. So did
Only
I.
once. Only once.
I think I beat you.
That is a focused look right there. Kyle Busch looking for 3 wins on the weekend. Denny Hamlin already won this season. Kevin Harvick, let's go trackside for opening.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports. Race fans, please welcome your Grand Marshals, NHRA superstars Matt Hagan and Leah Pritchett.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Ready to race in Las Vegas. Today on this 1.5 mile speedway, you're going to see all your favorite drivers. You're going to see familiar looking cars. But today is going to be a puzzlement. We are just not sure what to expect, and that's going to make it fun because we're in Las Vegas. So roll the dice. Who do you like? There's a Quinella, a 2 for Austin Dillon, Daniel Hemrick, the pole sitter, Kevin Harvick. How about Brad Keselowski? He's got the hot hand after Las Vegas. And the hometown boys. Is Kurt Busch your new number 1? Or is Kyle Busch going to three-peat for the weekend here today? And what about all these wild cards? I don't have that many in my deck. But the one word I have heard consistently through your pre-race and through talking to drivers and team people all weekend is attrition. There's going to be more attrition than we've seen. And Darrell, the word you used this morning, ludicrous?
Ludicrous. I think we're going to see a lot of ludicrous speed. But it's going to be, the problem these guys are going to have is getting in line. The spotters say it's like Daytona. You're constantly chattering inside, outside, got to push, got to pull. And trying to get in line, that's going to be a real problem for these guys. But Mike, one thing that I can tell you, up and down that pit road, excitement. Everybody in that pit, up and down pit road, wanted to know what, are anxious to see what's going to happen here today. Put me in that crowd. I want to see it myself.
So, Jeff, you're not going to be counting cars, but what about the mental gymnastics it's going to take to win this race?
Well, we all know when it's exciting, that means you're going to have to be mentally tough out there on the racetrack. I think the drivers are going to be faced with more challenges than they've ever faced before. 3, maybe even 4 wide on the restarts. Like you talked about, DW, getting that draft, try to make the pass. But if you don't make it, you don't clear them, how many spots do you lose? Spotter, and there are so many things that they're going to be facing they never had before. So I think the driver that handles the mental and physical aspect of this race best is going to be the one that comes out on top. So that leads me to Larry. Larry, I'm curious, how is all this going to affect how the teams execute today?
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, I think handling issues are going to be huge today, and there's going to need to be a lot of adjustments made to that race car. But to me, how a team executes, eliminate mistakes. If you go back to Atlanta last week, we had a lot of contenders that were right in place to win that race that took themselves out by mistakes. In Las Vegas, we always see a lot of mistakes. In fact, last September, there were 9 pit road speeding penalties. You make a mistake like that today, Mike, your good day will go bad.
And in a hurry. We're going to be in a hurry as they get ready to drop the green flag here in Las Vegas. A city that lives or sighs on the turn of a card or spin of a wheel. It's a beautiful day in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Take some chances.
Place your bets, everybody.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
Welcome to Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing from Las Vegas on Fox, presented by Jiffy Lube. Your starting lineup: pole sitter Kevin Harvick, last year's winner Denny Hamlin on the front row for the first time in Las Vegas, and that will run across the bottom of the screen as we're about ready to get at it.
Yeah, so let's dial up. Daniel Hemrick starting 5th today. Daniel Hemrick, Jeff up in the Fox Sports booth. You got me? Hey, Daniel, you come into this race after a great run last week in Atlanta, 100-1 odds here in Vegas. After yesterday's great run in practice and qualifying on Friday, they moved you to 38-1. I want to know what you think your chances are of winning this race.
We had him.
He's doing the no. He's doing the math.
Hey, Daniel, this is Jeff up in the booth. You still got me? Okay.
Well, I'll be darned.
Daniel, you got us on the radio here? Hear me?
I really want to talk to this.
I'm trying to talk to you from Fox, but I guess it's not going through. Yeah, I can hear them. They can't hear me.
Well, we can hear you now, Daniel. Let's try this one more time. You got me?
I got you now, Jeff.
All right, sorry about that. Hey, I was just saying that coming into the race weekend after that great run last week and then the great run today, they've changed your odds from 100-1 to 38-1. I'm curious what you think your chances are.
I think they're as good as any. It's rewarding to be sitting in such a fast cat Camaro Z01. These guys, RCR, ECR, everyone, Chevrolet, are doing all the things to give us fast race cars. So we're going to give it our all today and see what the day shakes out and gives us.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us. Have a great one.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. Y'all enjoyed the show.
We will. One to go this time by Jamie Little.
It has been a whirlwind 2 weeks since Denny Hamlin and his team won the Daytona 500. But last night, they finally got to relax. Denny took his entire team out to celebrate that momentous win. I talked to his crew chief this morning, Chris Gabehart, and he said the chemistry and the vibe with this new team and their driver, Denny Hamlin, is so good right now. It showed in qualifying. Best qualifying ever. He's on the front row, and they are confident they can get to victory lane today. They just want to validate who they are as a team now and where they're going. Vince Welch?
Well, 28-year-old Austin Dillon is entering a key stage in his career. This is his 6th full season, and the expectations are rising. Just making the playoffs isn't good enough anymore. But the good news for fans of Dillon and this 3-team is that the RCR group has a confidence and a unity we haven't seen in years, and they believe they're on the front edge of this new package. Austin Dillon and company believe this is going to be a breakout season for this team, and they believe that breakout is going to begin today. Matt Yoakum.
Vince, on Wednesday, Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch were the odds-on favorites to score the win here at Las Vegas, but I think you should keep an eye on Joey Logano in the 22. Many think this package will require aggressive moves on the racetrack as well as on the spotter stand, and that falls right into Joey and TJ Majors' wheelhouse. Keep an eye on that 22. He's never won here, Larry Mack, but I think today could be the day.
All right, let's take a look at our race analysis. We're going to go 267 laps for 400 miles. The stages are 80, 80, 107. Pit road speed 45. The fuel window 58 to 62 laps. And Mike to the rear, the 00 Landon Casson for a rear gear, and Ty Dillon in the 13 for an engine change.
Thanks, Larry. When that 2019 Toyota Camry XSE makes the hard left turn onto pit road, I think that's going to be the toughest turn to make all day. Not for the pace car, but for these race cars. Corner speeds are up 10 to 15 miles an hour, and what is already a treacherous pit road entry under green is going to be even tougher.
Yeah, Mike, we saw one of the wildest, craziest practices I think we ever saw yesterday. I think the race is not going to disappoint. I think we're going to see that same kind of race today, and particularly when we get them going here. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing in Las Vegas, boys.
Come from behind. 9. You're clear. You're clear. Still in the middle. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1. 0. 1 Still in the middle there. Still in the middle.
Harvick elected to the outside. Hamlin on the brake. Here comes Harvick high off turn 4 to lead lap 1, and they're 3 wide through most of the field.
I got to tell you, Mike and DW, I've never seen a start like that here at Las Vegas where they were 3 wide that early through 1 and 2.
I think the reason, Mike, you mentioned the word attrition, I think the reason a lot of guys are a little bit worried about it is because you can't get away from anybody. So you're running in a pack, kind of all close together. Somebody makes a mistake, we could have a big mess on our hands.
And also, the conditions today are a lot different. Yesterday, it was overcast, it was cool, the cars had a lot of grip, but today, it's hot and slick.
Couple of Chevys battling for 5th. Jimmy Johnson,
Chris
Chase
Buescher
Elliott,
going to the
Kyle
outside of Ryan Newman off of 2.
That outside seems to be, I guarantee you, Mike, we're going to wish, these guys are going to wish they'd moved that wall back about 10 feet because they're going to be right up against it before we get very far into a run.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. making some aggressive moves here early. No surprise by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. This should fall right into his wheelhouse.
You know, Mark
what a 6-pack right here. Look at this into turn 1.
Parker Kligerman up there doing a great job on the outside.
We saw him in practice yesterday hang with a lot of those fast cars. He's doing it right here now.
Brad Keselowski in the 2 with him.
Nothing behind the 2. Barely inside 21, packing a little air.
Well, Brad must have had some issues there on that opening lap. Lost some positions, maybe playing it safe and being patient. Now he's having to pick them off one by one.
Well, we heard him say, Mike and Jeff, that turn 3 was kind of calamity corner for him. He had been having trouble there. Paul Wolf talked to him. Just can't get the car comfortable getting into turn 3.
Almirola in the middle there in 29th. Keselowski started 19th. He is 26th.
I heard Kyle Larson make some comments as he's running side by side. He's in the 42 there, running side by side with the 20 of Eric Jones. He was really loose in practice, and you know he likes to run that car loose, but they said they're going to have to make some adjustments if he's going to be able to run that high line and get to the front.
I believe, Mike, with this package, I think keeping the car wound up, keeping it up on the high side, getting a nice run off the corner, I think that's going to pay dividends.
Big issue for Kyle Larson there. I don't know if the car got looser off of turn 2, but he almost got in the wall, lost his momentum.
Matt?
Mike, keeping momentum up is going to be the key today for Kyle Larson. His biggest challenge all weekend has been entering turn 3, especially trouble going over the bumps. They tried to make the car not lane sensitive or lane dependent because they knew he was going to have to move around a lot today.
Mike, the bumps are like, it's like a porpoise. It's not just one big bump, it's a bunch of little ones. You kind of bump, 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 and that really upsets the balance of the car.
14th place. Alex Bowman started 11th. Daniel Suarez has moved up from 20th.
Is that 4 wide?
It is 4 wide at the line.
On the outside.
Oh, my goodness.
William Byron on your left, sliding up in front of Ryan Newman.
2 teammates, the 2 JTG Doherty cars there with Keselowski, and they were 4 wide at the line. And there's plenty of room to do that there.
Ryan Blaney taking another shot back at William Byron. He's going to complete the pass after Byron slid up in front of him down in 1 and 2.
Mike, those teammates are trying to sort things out. They're just not quite sure who's going to get in front of who here, because we saw drafting to be a big deal in practice yesterday. Not sure how it's working out in the race today because we have such different conditions.
Pretty impressed with Kevin Harvick here. I mean, we expect him to be up front, especially when he qualifies, on the pole. But he really struggled yesterday in practice yesterday. It seems like they've sorted things out pretty good here today.
Here comes Austin Dillon, who at Atlanta was concerned because they brought a super speedway body type car, and it didn't perform to his liking. But boy, he's had speed all weekend here.
Whatever they brought here is working.
Kevin Harvick dominated this race last year, leading 214 laps. We expect a bit of a different story as we see how this plays out today in Las Vegas. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing from Las Vegas, presented by Jiffy Lube, sponsored by the Ford Hall of Fans. Are you NASCAR's biggest fan? Go to Ford.com/NASCAR. And by Jiffy Lube Multicare. You can do more in a jiffy. 14 laps complete. Kevin Harvick leading in a Mustang. Have a look at today's Ford Performance Track Facts. Ford swept both races here last year. Harvick and Brad Keselowski, who has won 3 of the last 6 Las Vegas races. Keselowski started 19th, dropped back to 26th, and now has climbed 10 positions. So he is at 16th right now. Austin Dillon riding a rocket here in second place, Vince.
And that is Austin Dillon. And Mike, you mentioned they took a different car, had a different build with their car last week at Atlanta, and they were not good. And they are much better this time. They said they learned a lot from what they struggled with last week, and they were confident from the get-go. And I mentioned in the opening that they believe they're on the front edge of this new package, that there will be some that are behind, and they are not one of them. They're really confident. Danny Stockman, no one's more confident in his driver than Stockman. They were together during the Truck and Xfinity Series championships. They believe they are in position to have a big day today.
Boy, they have speed. Want to show you Ricky Stenhouse. He's going to use Reed Sorensen in the 77 as a pick here to make a run.
Yeah, Kyle Busch comes up on the 77. When he gets underneath him, car gets a little bit wide, a little bit loose there. He loses his momentum, has to check up. Maybe he got tight. And watch Stenhouse continue that momentum. Almost got by both the 11 of Hamlin and the 18 of Busch.
It looked like that 18 got loose. He must have had to get out of the throttle because, man, that killed his speed.
Yeah.
Wow.
3rd, 4th, and 5th there. Stenhouse started 8th. He's in 3rd behind Harvick, Dillon, and Hamlin. Kyle Busch up on the high side, and Jimmy Johnson battling Joey Logano. Johnson started 9th, running in 6th. Vince?
Yeah, Jimmy's picked up a couple of spots. All I said is really loose off turn 4 at the beginning of the run, and was on the splitter a little bit. So waiting for those pressures to come up, which they have. One of the big concerns for the team today will be the fact that Jimmy has basically no voice. Although he felt okay, told me he feels okay, but his voice is extremely hoarse. He's got a little virus that's going through the team. The good news is Jimmy said he doesn't feel sick, but as I stood with him side by side talking to him, you could barely hear him. You can imagine the challenges that might present on the radio if necessary today.
Now this dry desert air up here takes its toll.
Yeah. He's a 4-time winner at this racetrack, Mike, and he's on a what a 61 race.
Yeah. Winless streak.
Winless streak. I know he'd like to change that in a hurry if he could.
Chase Elliott, 9th place, started 12th. Matt?
Mike, he was 3rd here at Las Vegas 2 years ago. Chase Elliott said the car turns well, but then he starts hitting the bumps, and it just upsets the nose. It kind of goes back and forth between tight and loose, just depends where he is on the racetrack.
Battling Kyle Larson for 9th there. And up to 5th place. Kyle Busch trying to hold back Joey Logano.
We saw the Penske Fords of Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and Brad Keselowski. They didn't qualify great, but they were all really strong in practice. I expect to see all of them start moving their way forward, just like we're seeing here with Joey Logano.
Yeah, these two guys like to work together.
What?
Yeah,
Is that what you call it?
Work on each other? I don't know.
Yeah, if this is the closing laps and we're watching this,
Whoa.
might be a little bit different situation.
22 laps complete with Kevin Harvick enjoying a 3-second lead over Austin Dillon, Denny Hamlin, Ricky Stenhouse, and Joey Logano.
Yeah, I think we ought to point out.
If I'm here doing this promo for the new Orange Vanilla Coke Zero Sugar, then who's driving my car? You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Well, let's see how the Coca-Cola Racing family is faring. Newman is in 23rd, Bubba Wallace 21st. Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson just outside the top 10. Hamlin, Dylan Logano all in the top 5. Harvick, Hamlin in second. Ricky Stenhouse has moved to third ahead of Austin Dillon. Joey Logano completes the top 5. 28 laps complete, Larry. We start this race with a fairly long green flag run.
Yeah, and I've already been kind of looking at strategy, Mike, and now that we're 28 laps into the run, we've had over a second give up on the stopwatch. If a caution comes any time now, everybody will come get 4 tires. But what if we keep going under green? The fuel window is 58 to 62 laps. That means we're going to have to pit somewhere around lap 60, which would be 20 to go in the stage. You're only going to need about 3 to 4 seconds of fuel. Very little time spent on fuel. I still think everybody will get 4 tires if we go that distance, but then, of course, we have to think about where do we want to try to finish in the stage. Strategy about where you want to finish in the stage, I think, could be a factor.
Okay, working lap 30 with 32 cars on the lead lap and 1 car, Joey Gase, in the garage. Here's 5th place.
Yeah, I've been watching Austin Dillon, and it looks like he's gotten loose. We knew Hamlin was going to play a role with this hotter, slicker track today versus yesterday, but he's really having some issues holding on to the back of that car.
Well, let's listen in to Austin Dillon and team.
Sideways, I got to move up or something. I have no grip on exit.
Yeah, just try it, man. 18, he moved up, and now he's actually starting to come back a little bit. He's been running the middle top. He's probably got the same issue.
Mike, Jeff, I'll ask you this question, Larry, if he's listening. Don't you think, whoa, what happened there?
The 9 car going to the outside 42 or was racing for position there, but it looked like he got pretty wide and almost into the wall off of turn 4.
So back to my question, don't you think after this first run and we get a chance to adjust, the track was a little bit different yesterday, new aero package, don't you think these guys will make some adjustment, these cars, tighten this field up some, and we'll see some racing like we saw in practice yesterday?
Especially if these clouds roll in. I think, this is throwing them off a good bit. I mean, yesterday it was really windy, really cool, and today it's hot out there.
Yeah, it had just rained yesterday morning. The track was clean. I just think it was a totally different conditions than what they're dealing with right now. I think they can adjust to this as soon as they can get in the pit and work on the cars.
Here's Daniel Suarez, who started the day in 20th, cracked the top 10, and sits right now in 12th, Jamie.
Coming off that really nice 10th place finish last week. This is just his 3rd race with Stewart-Haas Racing, and so far so good. Mike, you noted he started 20th. He's working his way up, and he's saying his car is tight, which is interesting because it's a mixed bag. You hear other drivers say they're sideways loose right now, so it's a bit of a misnomer at this point, I think, for crew chiefs looking to this first round of pit stops and what adjustments to make.
On the left of your screen, that's the battle for second. Now in lap traffic, but Denny Hamlin he had a real mirror full of Ricky Stenhouse there.
And let's remember that those adjustments that they're going to be making, they don't have the track bar adjuster inside the car like they used to. So now that takes up more time on a pit stop. You have to pick and choose what adjustments you're going to make. Vince?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., you guys noting running in the top 5 after that little second place battle with Denny Hamlin. They were as optimistic coming into this race as they have been in a long time for an intermediate track. Really like the way their car drove speed-wise and handled in practice. Ricky right now says he just needs clean air. It's a 4-wheel drift up off turn 4 and a little too free to be running the top through 3 and 4. That's definitely the end of the track that's giving him some issues right now.
Get back to Martin Truex. Truex started 23rd. He was in that big scrum at the start of the race when they were 3 and 4 wide back there. But now that things have kind of leveled out, he is up to 19th, Matt.
Mike, it's been a challenging weekend for the 19 team. The bumps have played havoc with the balance of Truex's Toyota. As you mentioned, he's made small gains. A year ago, Las Vegas kicks off the West Coast swing. He was money during this part of the year. He averaged a 3rd place finish. Right now, he is struggling. The car just way too free like it's been all weekend long, especially on entering turn 3. Big changes coming up.
Thanks, Matt. When we come back, we'll be halfway through stage 1. That'll be the point when crew chiefs start wondering, do we stay out there or do we try to improve things for the second half of this stage? A lap ago, Ricky Stenhouse, Clint Boyer, and Kyle Larson came to pit road, splitting the stage in half. Bubba Wallace just exiting as Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott are in. Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch finishing up. Denny Hamlin is in. Pit road becoming a busy place. Austin Dillon makes his stop. So does Eric Jones. Here comes William Byron down the pit lane. Daniel Hemrick, Chris Buescher, and more. So Harvick remains the leader from Logano, Blaney, Suarez, and Keselowski. Ryan Newman is in.
Let's pit this time. This time. You're clear. We'll pit this time.
Oh, Kyle Larson. Too many men over the wall.
Boy, they're not having much luck on pit road these last couple weeks.
Oh, last week, what, he was speeding last week. Now too many men over the wall this week. Those are the kind of things that will just take you right out of a race for a while anyway.
The leader is in. Kevin Harvick has led every one of the 43 laps today. Larson pitted from 10th. When this cycle is complete, we'll see where he ends up. Ryan Preece is in. Long way down to pit stall number 1 for Harvick, and Joey Logano is the new race leader. Blaney and Truex in, and Austin Dillon, too many men over the wall.
You know, Mike, I said it on the pace laps. Even in a 400-mile race, you just cannot make those kind of mistakes. Now you're going to have to do a drive-through penalty, pit road speed down pit road, and under green. So you're going to go maybe a second lap down.
Larry, I'm going to get those stickers made for the dash. Don't beat yourself, because I'm going to give every driver one.
Ryan Blaney, Martin
Truex, that driver
Almirola.
can't control how many men's over the wall.
Well, that's true.
Matt
So I'll put it on the toolbox.
And penalty cars cycling through. Austin Dillon was 7th. Kyle Larson was 11th. And he comes out right now 35th, but that's because the first 8 cars have not made a stop. Along with the next half dozen or so who are a lap down. And guess who's in second? Daniel Suarez. 6 seconds back of Joey Logano. Brad Keselowski third. One of the Penske cars has already stopped. That's Ryan Blaney. There's Suarez, second place.
Well, this is going to be a good test for Daniel Suarez as Brad Keselowski in the number 2 comes up close to that rear bumper. But we have been waiting to see what's going to happen with Daniel Suarez as he made this move from Joe Gibbs Racing over to Stewart Haas Racing. So far, a nice job today.
Yeah, he was 8th here last September.
Larry, the quickest cars that have already made stops are running 31 flat. The leaders are running half a second slower than that. How long do you want to stay out there if you've not yet made your pit stop?
Well, Mike, in my book, if you've already committed to go this far, you're going to go probably the full fuel window close to lap 60. What they're banking on, Mike, is right now we only have 8 drivers on the lead lap. We get a caution. That means all those drivers that pitted, they're a lap down. That's the goal. They're trying to catch a caution and pin these guys.
So only the first 8 drivers, back to Corey LaJoie, are on the lead lap, having not yet made their pit stop, along with Ty Dillon and Parker Kligerman and Ross Chastain, who are a lap down. Matt Tifft, they have not stopped.
And look at this battle between Kyle Busch in the 18 and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. They are racing really hard right now. Alex Bowman is a car that has stayed out in the 88. Is not pitted yet.
Let's show you what.
All right, guys,
go ahead, Larry.
We talked about Austin Dillon's crew, too many men over the wall. I want you to kind of focus in this area right here. You're going to see a guy that leans across the wall, and he's there to retrieve the tire that comes off. You can see him. He's got the tire right there that he's going to give the left front tire changer. When he comes around and he goes to get this tire, you can see he's trying to reach for it. He's trying to reach for it. Just give it a second here. And he's going to try to reach for this left front tire. And by NASCAR rules, when your hand touches the pit road box, that is too many men over. NASCAR gave us that direction during the offseason. They said if he touches the pits with a foot or a hand, too many men over the wall.
Thanks, Larry. Joey Logano has given up the lead to pit, and Ryan Blaney is back in for a second stop.
Well, that was you just hate to see it. Such a silly mistake there on pit road that's going to cost them dearly.
Yeah, too many hands over the wall.
So Daniel Suarez is your new leader. Why did Blaney come back again, Matt?
Mike, his team is looking at the left rear. They believe they had a left rear tire going down. The Goodyear engineers taking a look at it as well. They're checking the pressures.
Thanks.
A little bit different tire combination here this time, right and
He
left.
still has an issue, guys. There's still a 12 cars, or maybe he's just coming off pit road and hasn't gotten up to speed. But, boy, it just looked like he was running really slow. I guess he's starting to get back up to speed now.
He's feeling it out, being sure they fixed it.
That's something we're going to see a lot of today. When you come off pit road with less horsepower and all that drag, it takes a long time for these cars to get up to full speed.
What about our second place car, Jamie?
And Brad Keselowski, I know, Jeff, you were talking about him earlier. He was pretty quiet on the radio early. He qualified 19th and quickly fell back to 26th. He's just struggling at both ends of the track with the handling of this car. Paul Wolf, his crew chief, told me yesterday he was really trying to settle the entry of the corner to get Brad very focused on that corner and that entry. But today, everything has been magnified. He's too loose getting in, too tight on exit. So you can bet that 2 driver, Brad Keselowski, wants some changes.
Mike, you know what you do? It's engineering. You fix the first thing the driver complains about, and that'll fix your other problem.
Daniel Suarez has now led 4 laps of this race. He's 1 second ahead of Brad Keselowski. .58 laps complete in the Pennzoil 400 presented by Jiffy Lube. Paul Menard comes out after his pit stop. So does Alex Bowman. That will leave as Brad Keselowski comes to the pit lane. That'll leave Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell, and David Reagan, along with Ty Dillon as the only drivers, and Ross Chastain, who have not yet pitted. .20 laps to go in stage 1.
It's a long 20 laps.
Daniel Suarez, who previously had never led on a 1.5-mile speedway in the Cup Series, been out in front for the last 11 laps now.
Wave to him if you can. Right side, short slide him. I got your mark coming.
Wow, right sides only. Kevin Harvick will assume the lead as Michael McDowell and now Suarez gives up the lead to make his stop. David Reagan also in, so that will leave Ty Dillon on the racetrack as the only driver who has not yet pitted. Rights only, Larry. What do you think of that?
Well, that's kind of what I said a while ago, Mike. You know, what they're trying to do is maybe get a top 10 finish in the stage. That's the only reason you would do just right side, because you also only need about 3 or 4 seconds of fuel.
Ross Chastain also in. And that's everyone but Ty Dillon has now made their pit stop. We've been green since the start of this race. 61 laps now. Kevin Harvick was picking him up and mowing him down with fresher tires, while Suarez was right out there on 60 laps tires. Here is the difference on our Fox Ghost car. Look at the difference in corner speed.
He just ran over him. He just ran over him.
Right through him.
Went over
you can see, as Kevin Harvick didn't have to get out of the throttle and Suarez did, that momentum not only carried him through the corner faster, but all the way down that back straightaway. Here, Suarez had to check up a little bit into turn 3, while Kevin Harvick's probably holding it wide open. Now here he is coming to pit road.
Ty Dillon is in, the last car to pit.
Oh, there's just got a little hairy for our leader, Kevin Harvick. I really expected a lot more out of Daniel Hemrick in that number 8 car. He was so fast all weekend.
I think this thing's a repeat of Atlanta. I mean, with 3 and 8, we're fast up there, and today they're not there.
We have shown you the pit stop penalty for Austin Dillon. Matt Yoakum can review what happened to Kyle Larson.
Mike, the 42 team and the pit crew coach Sean Pete, they burned up their DVR replaying the stop over and over. NASCAR said that a crew member's hand hit the ground. They could not find that. So after about the 15th time, you can see right there, that crew member's job is to catch the left rear tire as it comes off the car. For a split second, you can see his fingers just hit the ground, and there's the penalty.
I mean, I'm just a little bit frustrated with this because, one, I think it's being a little bit too picky if you're NASCAR officiating, but at the same time, there's no reason for that guy to be over there with his hand, you know, on the pit stall.
NASCAR's pit road officiating system calls those penalties off the computer, sends it up to the tower for review, and it is the tower officials that decide whether or not a penalty is called. But yeah, if you have a hand or foot on the field in play, you're only allowed so many men over the wall.
You know how many of those arguments like that I won?
None.
0.
And neither are they.
I don't think they're going to get anywhere.
So there are the 2 penalty cars. Austin Dillon running 23rd, Larson 24th. Now there was contact. You saw it in our side-by-side coverage between Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse.
Yeah, Eric Jones did a nice job getting to the bottom of the 17 of Stenhouse. He goes down to the apron to try to clear him, and then they hit.
Eric Jones audio.
Look at both of your right sides there. I mean, you have a little damage, but I don't think it's even worth pulling on. Just a small crease on the right front end, right rear, but it's not bad at all. Yeah, you can take the 17. Let's talk bad about him at Daytona. You got off the approval list. Oh, apparently.
Well, we all know Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is extremely aggressive, especially if the draft is involved. So, you know, I just think that's a little too early for him to be side drafting, but that side draft is very effective to keep cars behind you.
Vince?
Well, in all things considered, Eric Jones and company have got to be thrilled with where they are running right now inside the top 5 after starting 18th. And I talked to him right before he climbed in the car, and he said he was concerned about starting so far back because he knew the start of the race was going to be so crazy. So the fact they've made their way to 3rd place this early, it has been a good start for this 20 team.
Sure is. Joe Gibbs Racing 1-2-3 finish at Daytona. They are 2-3-4 here behind Kevin Harvick's 4th. The first Chevy is Jimmy Johnson in 7th. 73 laps complete. There goes your leader, Kevin Harvick. 7 to go in stage 1. He's out in front of Kyle Busch by 4.4 seconds. Then Eric Jones, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, and the other Gibbs Toyota, Martin Truex, is on the move. Started this race in 23rd, tuned that car up on the stop, ran his fastest lap so far at lap 50, and now Martin Truex is 7th. Let's take a look at today's Driving Trust, Larry, sponsored by Midas.
You know, Mike, a lot of things changed for Martin Truex Jr. going over to Joe Gibbs Racing, that 19 team. But a couple of things that did not. His crew chief, Cole Pearn, this will be their 5th season together. And in the 4 years prior, 17 wins and the 2000 Series Cup Championship. But another familiar voice he'll be hearing over the radio this year, his spotter, Clayton Hughes. This will be their 6th season working together. So even with all the changes, you have to believe Martin Truex Jr., he's feeling some Midas driving trust with his crew chief, Cole Pearn, and his longtime spotter, Clayton Hughes.
Thanks, Larry. 5 to go in this stage. Joey Logano's just jumped into 3rd with this pass of Eric Jones, number 20.
Well, we've talked about how much aerodynamics matter, and you could see right there Eric Jones, I think when he was behind Matt Benedetto, got wide off of turn 4. The 22 had a great run from the top lane.
Fighting for stage points, 8th place.
Teammates, Chase Elliott in the 9, Jimmy Johnson the 48.
And behind them, Daniel Suarez in 10th with that 2-tire stop paying off, trying to get the final stage point here.
On the water, 1 lane lower.
Not too bad a run today for the 48 and the 9 so far. They're in good shape. Top 10.
Just the 9, 41, 2 back with you.
Boy, Denny Hamlin just flying off turn 2. The car stacked up 3 wide, and Hamlin had a run. There he went. Off he went.
And they went by Ryan Blaney 2 laps down. Stenhouse, oh, this battle's not over yet.
They're holding you down tight your quarter.
Well,
quarter,
yeah. I also thought Eric Jones might hold him down tight to the apron.
That's what Stenhouse did to Jones.
Exactly.
You're on the apron, stay on the apron.
Payback.
These two guys are willing to mix it up a little bit here, it looks like.
3 to go in stage 1.
Woo! 17 comes up, gets loose. Some great driving right there by both of those guys.
Okay, that 17's going to have to not be such of a dumbass.
Oh, my. We just seem to tune in at the most opportune times.
I don't know if that was inopportune.
I'm supposed to apologize for that kind of language, but like you, I was too busy laughing. So consider that. Chris Buescher, last car on the lead lap, the number 37. Kevin Harvick trying to put him 1 down before the end of this stage. Landon Castle just ahead. And now Jimmy Johnson in 10th, fighting with Keselowski because Daniel Suarez has moved up to 9th.
Yeah, Keselowski is on the move. Remember, he pitted really late. Here's our leader.
Green and white checkered flag. Buescher got away from Harvick, who coasts to the line. He swept both stages in this race last year. Kyle Busch 2nd. And for Joey Logano in 3rd. Denny Hamlin in 4th, and Brad Keselowski picks up the final stage point. An entertaining and caution-free stage 1 in Las Vegas. Harvick. Stage 1 complete. There's the Stratosphere and the Las Vegas Strip. A lot of those big tall cranes building more skyscrapers and hotels down on the famous Strip. 18 lead lap cars back to Chris Buescher. Bubba Wallace will get the free pass. At the end of stage 1, pit road's open, Vince.
From 18th to 5th, it was a very good stage 1 for Eric Jones. He says the car's just too tight. It was on the splitter at the beginning of the run, so they're going to add air pressure to get it up off the splitter and also take care of some of that tightness in the 20 car. Jamie?
Denny Hamlin in the 11 comes down 4th, said he's just too tight to move around, but he knows he needs to do that to make some moves to get up to the front. It's a 4-tire stop and air pressure, Matt.
Kyle Busch is in. He says the car, almost a 180 from the first run, wouldn't really change anything on it. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick, his jackman Stan Doolittle, before the stop was out in the box trying to blow any kind of dust or debris off. Harvick said on that first stop, it almost felt like there was water in the box. Again, you can see he just can't get traction off pit road.
Here's the Jiffy Lube race off pit road. Brad Keselowski, 2-tire call by Paul Wolfe, moves him up 9 positions.
Wow, look at that.
Here's Harvick's launch.
Just it can't get any grip, no traction.
I can't get no
traction. Let's dial him up. I don't know if I'm asking about that, but hey, Kevin Harvick, it's DW here. You got me, buddy?
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Man, yesterday you knocked it out of the park as an analyst. Today you knock it out of the park as a driver. The more things change, seem like the more they stay the same. You dominated this race last year. Car looks awesome. How you feeling out there, bud?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Jimmy John's Ford Mustang is driving good, and I think that's the key to everything. We got it on the tight side there, that second run, and had a little trouble getting out of the pit box right there. Got to get that wheel spin a little bit better on the pit box, but everything's going good. Just really concentrating on making our car drive good, and I think that's paying off for us.
All right, my friend. Well, you're doing a great job. We'll keep watching.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Getting ready for stage 2 with Kevin Harvick, our stage 1 winner. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing from Las Vegas, presented by Jiffy Lube, is sponsored by the all-new Chevy Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Perfect for race fans.
Here in our Race Hub studios, I'm Shannon Spake, Jamie McMurray, Bobby Labonte. Guys, all weekend long we saw drafting and practice and qualifying. What's going on out there right now? What do you think about what we've seen?
Well, I usually know on Saturday in the morning practice or afternoon practice, you think you have a good handle of what the racetrack's doing. And when the race starts, it always seems like 3 and 4 is always a lot freer, less grip on the racetrack. So I think that's going to be a part of it. Handling is definitely coming into play, so you don't see the pack racing right now.
Surprised, Jamie?
I mean, not really. Like Bobby said, Sundays when the sun comes out, it typically is slicker. The track has a lot of rubber on it. We haven't really had that much rain this weekend. So, no, I mean, not completely shocked. I think it will get a little more intense as it gets closer to the end. This restart will be more intense than the last restart, but not shocked right now.
Waiting for that intensity to build up. Let's go back to Mike.
Thanks, Shannon. Among the cars that took the wave around, 6 cars will get back on the tail end of the lead lap. Those were mostly cars that made their pit stops at lap 60. 36 cars on track. Joey Gase in the garage, joined by B.J. McLeod off the track. I talked to McLeod Friday about the incident on pit road last week, and he knew where he was going. He knew where he was stopping. He had a tire going down and was trying to stay away from the leaders making that stop. So I apologized for piling on. So Keselowski and Kyle Busch, who beat Kevin Harvick off pit road, getting ready for the restart. As we approach the Geico restart zone, remember Keselowski took only 2 tires to gain track position.
And remember, they were 3 wide on the first start, so those 2 tires might have an effect if they get 2 and 3, 4 wide here.
Joey's off half. You're clear 1 to the bottom. Kyle side dressing. No help 6. Still 6 right to the back bumper here. Kyle's right to the back. Joey's gaining. Trying to work to the top. All good. All good. Still 42 all the way on the bottom lane there. Runs with you.
Top cover tight.
Runs with you.
Top cover tight. Still no run. Here comes
top of 3.
1. Half.
Top of 3. 42. 2 back. Bumpers. Still down there. You're pulling the 18. You're 2 wide in your mirror as well. Top still covered here. 9 pushes 19. 1 lane up. Still outside. Still there, right rear. Still there, clear, clear, clear. Get up, get up. If you want, get up. Good 18 now.
Squeeze play here. This is just wild on these restarts.
Look at that huge run by Suarez. When cars get side by side, they stall one another out. That's what creates a huge draft from behind.
It's going to take a while to play out. Still about 12th place, 3 wide. Off into turn 1 along with this.
When you come up off that apron, Mike, you really got to force that guy on the outside up the hill a little bit to give you some room, or you're in trouble.
I think these 2 guys right here, Joey Logano on the 22, the 4 of Harvick, I think they're being held up a little bit by Brad Keselowski and those 2 tires right in front of them.
Well, I'll tell you something. If 2 tires happens to work out for Keselowski, that's going to change everybody's game plan and strategy. I can tell you that.
Now about the first 15 are single file. Not anymore. Almirola drops down. Truex trying to move up on the high side.
Outside, outside.
I am so impressed with Mark Truex Jr. right now because yesterday in practice, big struggle. The beginning of this race, I thought he was struggling just as much. And now look at him battling Kyle Busch in the 5th position.
2 cars in yesterday's only practice that did not concentrate on putting down fast lap times, Kevin Harvick and Martin Truex. We thought they were in trouble. We thought wrong.
Yeah, as I watched the 19 yesterday, Mike, I noticed when he'd first go out, he struggled a little bit, but it seemed like after about 5 laps or so, the car came to him and he was able to move forward. And seeing the same thing here in the race. And that, Mike, that could be a number of things. That could be tire pressure. Maybe they're running a little different tire pressure than some of the other guys, and just takes the car a little bit of time to come to him.
Eric Almirola keeps trying that dive bomb move into turn 3, Vince.
Well, and they have been working on the car, plowing tight on that previous run, so they made some significant adjustments, crew chief Johnny Klausmeyer. And he said, you know, it's really difficult with this package to get a rhythm, whereas with the previous package, you could settle in and just tick off some laps. Not with this one. It's too aggressive, too chaotic, and the cars are too much on edge around the other cars. There's no resting at all in this situation.
Kyle Busch, nice move to the outside side drafts. Kevin Harvick moves into that third position.
I think it'd be amazing. I would be flabbergasted if Kyle Busch would win this race. I would be 3 races this weekend and he's won at his home track. And that'd be 198 total wins. It just blows my mind when I put it all in perspective.
This is for 10th place. Jimmy Johnson leading a fast group of cars here, Vince.
Well, and Jimmy was upset. He lost several positions at the tail end of that first run and missed out on some stage points. You know, we told you earlier he had a throat issue, a voice issue. You couldn't hardly hear him, but he had no problem voicing his displeasure with the young Ryan Preece of that 47 car for holding him up. The lap traffic, Jimmy felt like it cost him momentum and cost him some spots at the end of that stage. But as far as the 48 is concerned, they're just trying to get it snugged up a little too free so far this race.
Well, fellas, there's a storm brewing between Eric Jones and Ricky Stenhouse. We got a great battle for the lead, but they had contact last lap coming out of turn 4 for the second time. Kyle Busch to the bottom.
They're not happy with each other. And it's getting worse.
We'll get back to that in a minute. This is just too good to leave, as Kyle Busch hunts the lead.
Well, unlike that first stage where Kevin Harvick was able to get out front and sort of dominate and pull away, those 2 tires on Brad Keselowski, he cannot get away from his teammate Joey Logano.
Wow.
I think Joey's going to get to the outside of him. Yeah, side draft him, get position this time through 1 and 2.
Yeah, Joey's car is so good right here through the middle of this corner. Watch him accelerate up off of 2 over there.
Kyle Busch.
One back a lane higher. You're clear, all clear.
See, I think
kind of pinned in, and you're all clear, man. The 18 just cleared the 2. He just cleared him.
But look at Kyle Busch. He can put that car anywhere, top, bottom, middle, and make it work.
Yeah, whatever adjustments that they made, even on the pit stop before the end of this first stage, his car came to life, and he is really strong right now.
Now let's take a breath and go back to Ricky Stenhouse coming off turn 4, and I think he got a little piece of the 20. Eric Jones here. He's got to run.
He's been working that higher line, getting these big runs. Just a little contact. Oh.
Hello.
And you can be assured Eric Jones is looking in his mirror. He sees it's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and he's like, not him again.
How about not him all day? I think the 2 of them are keeping pretty close company. Now Stenhouse going after Jimmy Johnson for 10th.
You have to admit, Stenhouse is fun to watch because he's got a good car today and he's able to make some passes. See him getting ready to go by Jimmy Johnson here. He's not shy about bumping him and moving him out of his way.
No, and that dirt track experience that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has, he searches the racetrack. He finds these grooves that nobody else is really finding much speed out of.
New pair of hands with the dice. Joey Logano out in front of Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing from Las Vegas, presented by Jiffy Lube. Sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. By Toyota. Let's go places. And by Jiffy Lube Multi-Care. You can do more in a Jiffy. 23 laps complete in stage 2. You're riding with Matt DiBenedetto and his Levine Family Racing Toyota, running in 19th on the lead lap. 10 seconds off the lead.
And don't adjust your sets, because that is how rough this racetrack is at speed.
Joey Logano out front by just 0.3 of a second over Kyle Busch. Ryan Newman on pit road unexpectedly, but let's take you back a bit. These leaders, they have a history, including here. 2017. Little bump and run. And then a big toss, and tempers overflow on pit road after the race. And here they are, 1-2. In fact, the front four right now are kind of like me and the big three. If you remember Joey Logano going into Homestead last year, where he won the championship, he said, it's the big three and me. He became the champion, but not after quite a charge from Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, and Martin Truex, who right now run 2, 3, 4.
And I think if Joey Logano is going to maintain this lead, he's going to have to start searching up the racetrack a little bit, because that's what Kyle Busch is doing right now. I know Kyle's car might be a little bit better, but he's working that higher line, gaining that momentum to get these runs down the straightaway to stay right on the rear bumper of Joey Logano.
Jamie.
Brad Keselowski in 5th right now. I talked to his crew chief, Paul Wolf, this morning, and he alluded to the fact that they were going to try some different things with these tires. He said they just don't give up much speed, so why not do it early? And as you guys noted, the 2 car took right sides only. Well, they held on for 13 laps. That's what he led. Now that he's fallen back, he said, I'm just extremely tight, and that's exactly the same comment I heard from Daniel Suarez, who tried the 2-tire stop as well, Matt.
Jamie, back on Kevin Harvick's first stop, they shuffled the air pressure trying to help with the balance. It actually made the car tighter, so they took that change out, made another air adjustment. Harvick still says the car is trending to the tight side, especially mired in traffic.
He is 3rd, less than a second off the lead right now. We saw the 2 Ryans on pit road. That would be Newman and Preece. Among the cars that took the wave around, they're now having to come in and make their stop. They're just joined by Matt Tifft making his stop. 28 complete of the 80 laps in stage 2 as we look at this 10th place battle.
What I noticed, Mike, is you can get a big run. If you get back and you get positioned right, you can really draft up on the car in front of you, and you have so much momentum, you can almost make that pass with the momentum you get from the draft from the car in front of you. Otherwise, you kind of stall out here. You can't really get it going.
I think as we look at Chase Elliott and Brad Keselowski, 6th and 7th, working their way around Reed Sorensen. And let's get a better representation of what Darrell's talking about. Larry?
Yeah, Mike, we've talked about this aero package, and one of the big elements, and we're going to go to our Ford Performance Cutaway car that changed from last year to this year, is that rear spoiler on the rear deck lid of the car. That controls rear downforce and drag. Last year, that rear spoiler was only 2 3/8 of an inch tall, and the air stayed way down here. This year, it's grown to 8 inches, and look how much further up the air goes, and what that does, that creates a bigger wake for a car that's behind that car. Yeah, it puts more drag, more downforce on the car, but what it really does is open that wake up behind that car.
Boy, sure does. Sure breaks a bigger hole in that wall of wind as Chase Elliott just made the move there around Ricky Stenhouse. That was for 7th place.
They're going kind of crazy here, Mike. They're trying the 6 car Ryan Newman out there, he just went out of frame, and the 18 got by the 22.
Lead change.
Yep.
I don't think the
Coming
22
back.
like that. It was traffic that created that pass.
Well, Newman remembers on fresh tires. He just made a stop, so he's able to rocket on by them.
They were kind of all wadded up as they went down the front here. Like some lap cars in there, and the 6 and a bunch of them.
Yeah, a bunch of those wave around cars are now starting to come to pit road to put those fresh tires on.
See right here.
So the 22 of Logano got stalled out. This is what makes Kyle Busch so good. You would have thought he would have gone to the rear bumper, maybe to the outside of the 22 of Logano. No way. I'm going 3 wide all the way down on the apron to make this pass.
Yeah, you know what? It's anticipation. You kind of look at a situation that's situational, and you make a decision. And 99% of the time, he makes the right decision.
Matt DiBenedetto and Ryan Blaney on pit road. Blaney's second stop in stage 1 was because they lost a valve stem during the tire change on his scheduled stop. He had to come back in.
Well, you can see right there, Joey Logano desperately wants to maintain this lead and almost put a block on him on the 18 of Kyle Busch there going into turn 1 that may not have turned out too good if they had made contact.
35 laps complete in stage 2. Joey Logano has led 25 laps today. Welcome back to Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Las Vegas on Fox, presented by Jiffy Lube. 119 laps complete. We're coming around to halfway in stage 2, and look at this for the lead.
What a great move by Kyle Busch. Got position inside the 22 of Logano and used that draft off the 3 of Austin Dillon to complete the pass.
Yeah, I think Kyle is working the traffic a little more aggressively than what Joey is, and it allows him to get by Joey every now and then.
Here comes Blaney. He's got new tires. He just made a pit stop with that number 12. It put him 3 laps down. He wants to get one of those back right here.
Whoa, baby!
That's a little early, boys. That's a little early. Maybe on the last lap.
You are singing like you did see Celine Dion last night.
I'm telling you. That was really close. I mean, even from up here, it was close. I maybe wouldn't make such a big deal out of that, but these two guys have a little bit of a history, you know, and so it doesn't take a lot to aggravate each other.
Channel 2 here at the break.
22 radio talking about Ryan Blaney, saying that he was 2 laps down at the break, and he let Blaney go on newer tires.
Draft him. Get behind him and draft him.
Yeah, you might be able to help him get by
Might get back
leader,
up there.
Kyle Busch.
You know, on the highway, when the speed limit's 70 and you're doing 75 and somebody flashes by at 80, let him go. That's kind of what Joey did right there.
Exactly.
Let him go.
Let him go.
Michael McDowell on pit road, 123 in. Kyle Busch trying to pull away just a bit as you're watching Keselowski versus Elliott for 6th.
Mike, I mean, we were worried about Martin Truex. You know, how's he going to have? He was really started off kind of ragged, but look where the dude is running right now. This man has moved himself into 4th place, got a good race car, challenging Kevin Harvick right here for 3rd. That 19 car is on the move.
Now, one of the things that they did in stage 1, they pitted early, did that short pit that worked out so well for them. Now that they're up front in the top 5, will they use that same strategy? 22 on pit road.
I think Joey Logano saw how quick Ryan Blaney was with those new tires, and here he is to get some. Keselowski's in as well.
And what I love about, as soon as these guys pit and everybody sees them in the pit, they're going to start calling all the leaders will be on pit road.
Bubba Wallace is in. Here comes Harvick to pit road, and I believe Hamlin.
You called it, DW. Oh boy, look at it's getting busy at the entrance at pit road.
It's like the buffet line just opened.
Get them 4 Mr. Feelgoods, and they'll be back out there going somewhere.
Almirola in, Suarez, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer, Eric Jones, Ricky Stenhouse all getting serviced, and Alex Bowman and Almirola.
Everybody spins the tires, just having a trouble getting out of the pits. Look at Harvick. He's just spinning away. Here's Jones. He can't get going. Mike, those are concrete pit boxes, and all the rubber and everything stays on top. It doesn't get down in the asphalt and create grip. It causes it to be slick.
What's going to give here?
Yeah, already 3 wide, just leaving pit road. And Darrell, go back to those pit stalls. Watch this little battle.
All right.
Every pit stall is a little bit different in the way that they finish off that concrete. These seem to be much smoother, less abrasive, so they don't have as much of a launch.
Chase Elliott finishing up. Chris Buescher is done. He's going to come out as Martin Truex tries to pull in. Truex hits the brake, makes the turn, comes to a halt.
And if you ask why concrete, when it was pavement, especially on a hot day like today, that jack would sink right down into the pavement.
I think Indy cars also created they like the concrete because they got those hydraulic jacks under the cars.
Same thing.
Same situation.
Instead of the car going up, the jack would just drill
sink
down
into the asphalt.
Right. Kyle Busch, your leader. Let's see if he comes. William Byron now up to 2nd. Kurt Busch, Paul Menard, David Reagan are the lead lap cars. And here comes your leader.
Almost missed it.
Man.
Very aggressive. Locked up that inside tire.
That was a wide berth getting in there.
Well, he's already had 2 races this weekend to practice that.
We know he makes up so much time getting in and getting out of the pits. I mean, we see it all the time.
Missed pit road one time at Atlanta last week. Wow, look at the yellow crowd over here on the left of your screen. Logano, Byron, and McDowell. Everybody but Blaney among the yellow cab squad. Kyle Busch, 4 Goodyears, tank of Sunoco race fuel, and away he goes.
I have to say, everybody has the same amount of problem getting out of their pit box. It's not, nobody has an advantage, or at least it doesn't appear that way.
Oh, Kyle Busch, too fast entering.
It was pretty aggressive, pretty wide berth, pretty hot.
I'll let you know when.
Well, we
talked about this pit road entry, how treacherous it can be.
And I was wondering if he was looking in his mirror. You see Blaney was right there. I think he was trying to get further around the corner so he didn't get run over by Blaney. He just could not get the tires to grip, to brake, to get slowed down.
Segment 1, right at the entry to pit road, is where Kyle Busch was over the speed limit and the 5-mile-an-hour cushion that they are allowed.
That's one thing we see with this aero package and rules for 2019. The drivers have to be so much more aggressive with everything that they do.
Don't cut your radius. Don't push your lights. All red.
Kyle Busch will come back out 1 lap down in 17th place. So 4 drivers out front, Byron, Kurt Busch, Menard, Kyle Larson, and Daniel Hemrick, have yet to stop, Larry.
Well, and somewhat like we saw with a few drivers like Brad Keselowski in that first stage, they can go to about lap 65 of this stage right here, which is about lap 145. So they can go another probably 10 or 12 laps. And the goal is just like earlier, we only have 5 drivers on the lead lap. What Chad Knaus, William Byron, Kurt Busch, Paul Menard, Kyle Larson, they're trying to catch a caution and pinned all these other drivers a lap down.
I think sometimes, Mike, that's very possible because you got some guys on really good tires, newer tires, some guys on older tires. Sometimes there's a come together of the older and the newer tires because the guy can't get out of the way quick enough.
4 drivers out front have not yet made that pit stop. We're going to take you side by side with William Byron leading. William Byron, your leader. Paul Menard was in 3rd, just made a pit stop. So Byron leads Kurt Busch by a little less than a second. How about William Byron and Chad Knaus going a little contrary here?
Is anybody surprised that Chad Knaus is going to try to pull this off? I'm not.
I'm not, and I'm going to tell you, Chad Knaus in my world is the master. He figures it out. He's got a strategy, and I'm going to say most of the time it works out.
Well, and he's not afraid to gamble, you know, and here we are in Vegas, and he takes some chances. It's paid off a lot in the past.
He just told his driver, I need 5 more laps. We'll see how that plays out.
Well, that driver in that car probably will not argue with Chad Knaus.
Daniel Hemrick to pit road. He's currently 16th, 1 lap down. 11 to go in stage 2. How about a quick word from Duracell?
This is the #1 trusted brand.
Battle for the lead heating up. Here comes one of the hometown favorites, Kurt Busch, carrying the colors of the sponsor that got him started here 22 years ago. Star Nursery went on one of his Legends cars, eventually carried him to wins on the Southwest Tour, and this is kind of a nice thank you to Craig Q and that well-known company here in the Las Vegas area.
Mike, I got to give Kurt Busch some props. I think he's gotten a lot out of this one car already. I think he's made a difference in the performance of this car, and I love it when he pays tribute to people that help him get here.
Well, he was one of the short track bosses here at the Bull Ring, and we want to do this weekly. This week's short track boss is Scott Gaffarini. Has 67 wins on the Las Vegas Bull Ring and a record 6 track titles there in super late models. Kurt Busch said of him, he set the tone on how to show up, prep a car, and race clean. Well done.
I always think about what Kurt Busch said a long time ago. He said, "You think I'm pretty good? Wait till you see my brother." He wasn't kidding.
Vince on the second place car.
Well, and this is no place that he would rather have a better performance than right here at Las Vegas, because he's had some decent runs in the past, but has just had nothing to show for it result-wise. But they really focused yesterday on the long run in the car. In fact, ended on a 30-lap run. And when I talked to Kurt this morning, he said, "I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to have a car that's going to have good balance deep into the run." And he said, "I think that's where we're going to be able to gain some ground on some." Right now, they've been fighting tight, and he'll be pitting in about 3 laps.
Byron Busch and Larson are the 3 drivers still on track who have not yet made this stop. Joey Logano back up to 3rd after stopping at lap 124, just shy of 20 laps ago.
And don't you know Kyle Busch is going to be super aggressive here, trying to get that lap back.
He got behind yesterday and pulled it out.
Yeah, they had a loose wheel and he went a lap down early.
Yeah, I didn't think. I thought, well, it's going to take him out of that race. Wrong.
I'm not so sure Kyle Busch doesn't thrive on getting behind.
Adversity.
Looking for Kurt Busch, see if he hits pit road this time. And yes, he's slowing in turn 4. New to Chip Ganassi Racing this year, where he replaced Jamie McMurray, teamed with Kyle Larson. Interesting pairing there. So that leaves Byron and Larson out there since lap 83 on the same set of tires.
Look at those tires coming off the car, Mike. They look really good. Nothing visibly wrong. Tire wear looks pretty good.
And remember, Kyle Larson was a lap down. He's trying to get himself back on the lead lap. So this is a risk worth taking for Kyle Larson.
And we expect Larson next time by. $14 to go in stage 2. William Byron has now been out front for 17 laps. Last year's Sunoco Rookie of the Year.
Remember last year, he and Darian Grubb, a lot of times they'd do something a little bit different.
Yep.
And he'd end up in the lead a lot of times, and just doing something a little bit different today.
Larson in the pit lane. And Larry, that kind of leaves William Byron out on an island by himself.
Well, again, he's going to have to come to pit road here within the next 2 to 3 laps. But what they're banking on, Mike, if they can catch a caution, they have almost the entire field a lap down. There's only 3 other cars on the lead lap, but Matt, they're going to have to come pretty quick.
And the balance has really come more his way, Larry Mack. He needs it to be tighter. Chad Knaus told him probably 2 laps away before pitting, we're more than likely going to go fuel only to save as much time as possible from not being out on the track.
And Mike, I tell you, looking at his lap times, they're not that. I mean, he's running good lap times for the tires and everything he has on the car right now.
They're coming this time. So Byron has a lead of 22 seconds on Joey Logano and is going to stop, we think, for fuel only.
Once you...
Take 2 seconds for fuel here.
Logano entering turn 3 now.
I'm going to count it out for you, bud. Coming through the 42 box. $1,001, $1,002, go, 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 go.
Fuel only.
Joey Logano, the new leader, but Byron's going to come out here well positioned on the lead lap, I think.
Yeah, only 10, 11 laps to go in this stage. And I think he felt like if he had taken tires he was going to go down a lap.
So Byron back up on track. I think he'll keep a top 10 spot here. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing from Las Vegas, presented by Jiffy Lube. Sponsored by Ring.com. With Ring, you're always home. And by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. 6 laps to go in stage 2. There's the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. Boy, what a great sight as they came across at the national anthem. Joey Logano, your leader, and yes, William Byron did hang on to a top 10 spot with that fuel-only stop. He's in 10th place. And also, let's point out that both Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch have rebounded from their pit road penalties. They are both on the lead lap. Kyle Busch in 19th place, last car on the lead lap right now as we come to the end of stage 2.
The one that has a little bit of work to do is Kyle Larson, because not only is he not on the lead lap right now, he's what, 3rd or 4th of those cars that are on the lead lap, so he might not even get the free pass.
I think what I'm seeing, Mike, is these guys will learn, like Chad and now these guys, how to plan their race out based on the state, when the stage is going to end. So I think it gives them some options that if we didn't have these stage breaks, that they may not be able to utilize.
Now we're riding with Matt DiBenedetto. He is in the free pass position. He's 20th. The first car 1 lap down. He'll be battling Ryan Newman for that spot as we come to the end of the stage.
And remember his pit strategy. He was the first car of those lap down cars to hit pit road. So he short pitted, got 4 tires early, and that's paying off.
And one other thing I see here, the tires don't fall off that much. It's not like they're giving up a lot of speed because of the tires. They don't fall off as much as I've seen a lot of places.
Battle for 8th. Whoa. Stenhouse and Bowman.
Stenhouse has some competition with Alex Bowman being aggressive.
Still in there.
You know what? Stenhouse says, look, boys, today I got a fast car, and I'm not afraid to use it.
I tell you, you got to take your hat off to Greg Ives on that 88 team. He only took 2 tires on that last stop. That gained Alex Bowman a lot of positions as we close out this stage.
And Jeff, Mike, remember, that 17 bunch has struggled a lot over the last maybe couple of years. They've got a car today that's pretty competitive. So it gives Stenhouse a chance to show what he can do as a driver.
You saw Stenhouse get stalled out a little bit there on the 13 of Ty Dillon.
2 wide tight, 2 wide.
They're catching Almirola for 7th.
And look who's catching our leader.
Yeah, here I come.
Oh, I think the 22 of Logano's trying to work with his teammate Ryan Blaney to help him out at the end of this stage.
Trying to keep Blaney from losing another lap here. Last lap of the stage. Here comes Harvick. He's got a run coming off turn number 2. There he is. 3 car lengths. I think you're exactly right, Jeff. Logano is trying not to pass and put Ryan Blaney another lap down as they come to the stage, which Harvick is not going to sweep the stages. Joey Logano gets the checkered flag, and for the last stage point, Bowman, Byron, and Johnson, the 3 Hendrick teammates, fighting 9th, 10th, 11th.
So a little bit more speed up high off of turn 4, and the 48 was able to get around the 24 there at the line.
And Jimmy Johnson gets the final stage point in stage 2. Penske teammates working together here. Would you say?
Oh, I would say.
A lot of turbulence behind that car.
Joey Logano, our stage 2 winner. It's here and it's available today at your local Chevy dealer. The all-new Silverado. The strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Stage 2 complete. Pit road will be open this time. 19 lead lap cars. Plus Matt DiBenedetto will get the free pass and be back on the lead lap. We'll see if we have some waiver rounds. But Joey Logano is going to lead them onto pit road ahead of Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex, Brad Keselowski, and Denny Hamlin. Chase Elliott's the first Chevy in 6th. And here they come. Jamie.
And Brad Keselowski in the 2 said his car was completely different this run, just the way it responded. But after 15 laps, he said it came to him so much and so that he told his crew chief, Paul Wolf, leave the balance alone. Don't make any changes here. They're looking at a 4-tire stop, and they'll fill him up with fuel. Matt?
Logano on the previous run, so the car was just super tight. They made an air pressure adjustment. It really helped, but then he says that the car was a little bit more tighter in traffic on that run. Meanwhile, Harvick on the left side of your screen, he needs his car to turn so much better. Air pressure adjustment. Truex on the bottom, he's the first to leave of my 3. His car just built so much tighter over the course of that run.
Logano wins the race off pit road.
If Harvick could get out of his pit box, he would win the race off pit road, but he cannot get out of that box. Watch, I mean, he got plenty. He's beaten. He's way ahead of the other guy, but he just spins, can't get going.
And then right there, he lets out the clutch to try to stop the spinning. He loses that position. Let's dial up our Stage 2 winner, Joey Logano. Hey, Joey, this is Jeff up the Fox Sports booth. You got me?
I got you loud and clear.
Well, man, looks like Todd Gordon, you guys have it dialed in today, winning that Stage 2. But I want to know about this next restart that's about to happen. Boy, it's been pretty intense. Tell us what it's like from where you're sitting.
It's intense for quite a few laps because you're wide open, you know, or you're lifting just a little bit, so you can't drive away. The leader can't get away, you know, so it's all about trying to build a run and trying to get clean air around us to keep that momentum and trying to get a run enough to get to the you know, the side of the car, whether it's the inside or the outside. So it's tough. It's tough sledding now here for a little bit, and then once the handling comes into play, then the good cars start to drive away a little bit. But it's anybody's race up front here.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us. It's been fun to watch. Keep it going.
All right, 10-4. Have a good time.
Lap down cars now pitting at the end of Stage 2, where Joey Logano is your stage winner. Getting ready to restart for Stage 3. Let's take a look at the fastest pit stop, sponsored by Xfinity. Nice job by Chase Elliott's team with the quickest stop there, 12.9. Kevin Harvick, who's been strong all day, and Denny Hamlin, who started up front, all in a group there with Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse at 13.1. Now your race leader is Kurt Busch because, Larry, he chose not to stop at the stage break.
I love what his crew chief, Matt McCall, has done here, though. He pitted at 145. That's 122 laps to go. So he, too, can make it on one stop. He's just got to go 61 laps a run. So he'll pit probably with about 61 to go. Everybody else will probably pit with about 52 to go. So he'll have to pit about 10 laps earlier, but love the strategy, Mike.
Now, Kyle Larson took the wave around. He's on the same strategy as Kurt Busch. David Reagan also took the wave around. So 22 cars on the lead lap behind Kurt Busch and Joey Logano for stage 3 as we approach the Geico restart zone.
What Kurt Busch is really going to have to do is do what Brad Keselowski did. Get out front here, get that clean air.
Green flag.
11 tight with you. Pushing. 7 still tight with you. Still inside door. Got the 11 lined up behind one side door. 4 is right with you. Still down that corner. Still there. Watch the bottom on that. Still there. Side by side. No run from behind. Out there at your door. This corner. Drag him back. No runs. Drag him back. He's on you tight. One back with you. 11's going to have a big push. Back 11.
Yikes.
11 with you.
Yeah.
11 with you. Still inside.
2, 3, and 4 wide.
Oh, my gosh.
Right down
3
on the
wide
door
for
of the 22. Kurt Busch side drafting aggressively on Joey Logano. You know, Jamie McMurray said it during one of our breaks that every one of these restarts is just going to get more and more intense.
Keselowski up high with a run. He'll come right to the bumper of Kurt Busch on the outside. Logano down low with Harvick as they enter the corner.
Mike, one thing I like about this package, a lot of downforce. So you got a lot of grip in the car. We're down on horsepower a little bit, so we're not running 200 miles an hour. It gives a driver a chance to really hold on and handle his car well. And I think that's what we're seeing on these restarts. Everybody's got a good car and they can drive side by side without getting into each other.
What I'm seeing at the front is nobody will give.
Back. 4 still pushing the 22 on the bottom.
Well, we talked to Brad Keselowski pre-race. He said there's going to be a lot of take, but not a lot of give.
Still clear. Still clear by 1. Lost a little bit. Lost a lot.
Kurt's staying down on that door. I know that.
Still chasing you here. Still chasing you. 4 still pushing him.
Brad getting Nancy in third, changing lanes.
Well, and I'm just wondering, is Kyle Busch or somebody like Brad Keselowski going to take advantage of these two being stalled out side by side, take them 3 wide to make this pass?
And there it is with Hamlin in the middle. 3 wide. In the 11.
They're low, just outside.
Now on the bottom.
Kevin Harvick chooses to push his ex-teammate Kurt Busch.
Little log jam at the front here.
4's tight with you. Still inside 22. Now you're clear.
Takes second place, Kevin Harvick does.
Tell you what, Kurt Busch is driving the wheels off that one car right now. Hanging on.
Keselowski back up top. That's the line that worked for him last week in Atlanta. All the way to victory lane.
Kevin Harvick gets up. Let me show y'all how to do this.
Almirola in the mix now in 5th.
Whoa, Joey Logano right in front of his teammate Brad Keselowski. They're bump drafting down the front straightaway.
Yeah. Keyword teammate. That's why that worked. I'll cut you a little slack there, bro.
Harvick for the lead. Down to the bottom. Kurt Busch comes down to deny him the low lane.
Closed the door on him getting into 3 over there. And almost, I thought that the 4 car had a run, but he closed the door.
Now with Kurt Busch out front with his new team, Chip Ganassi, our Ram built for the playoffs question. What will happen to Kurt Busch with his move to Chip Ganassi Racing this season? Can he build on this all the way to the playoffs?
Oh, I think he can. I think he and Matt McCall are already starting to click, building some confidence. And remember, I said this before the season started, the one car of Kurt Busch, something else that they have as an advantage is Jazzy. He is a engineer that came off of the 78 team, Furniture Row, when that team went away. And so that's a great asset to have as part of the engineering group on this one car.
Yeah, I think already last 2 weeks we've seen that one car, I mean, up front, running well. 42 was kind of the car that was the best car out of that stable last year, but this year looks to me like Kurt Busch is taking this one car to another level.
So how did Jazzy end up with the number 1? Remember when Kurt Busch drove the number 78? That was one of the engineers. So Vince.
Well, and Kurt told me today, I said, what's going to be one of the keys that you're focused on today? And he said, blocking properly. I think we're seeing some of that right now.
I need to go to that school because I don't see a lot of proper blocking going on.
Well, today we're seeing it working out. Yesterday in that Xfinity race, we saw where it doesn't work so well.
It's got to be exciting for Kurt Busch to have that paint job on the car. I know there's a lot of those folks at Las Vegas is home track. I'm sure a lot of those folks are here today from the Star Nursery, and it's just cool to. He's actually leading this race with taking a lot of heat, but he's leading this race.
And I'm sure he didn't enjoy getting up this morning and seeing his brother's name in all the headlines. That'll give you a little extra motivation too.
Oh, brotherly rivalry there?
Sure.
Absolutely. Pretty sure right now Kurt Busch is looking in his mirror more than he's looking out the windshield.
He's blocking properly.
There's your lead, 0.2 of a second apart. We'll go back to 6th place, Denny Hamlin and Ricky Stenhouse, just about 2 seconds off the lead. Jamie?
And Denny Hamlin, when he just hasn't had the drivability they expected to have. Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, really thought they had something to contend with the win today, but he's just been overall too free. And before that last stop, Denny said, it is so bad. My splitter is just in the track and it's hurting us. He wanted them to take a big swing. You see Chris Gabehart on the right. Chris did not want to risk giving up too many positions, so he opted to make no changes other than an air pressure adjustment in those tires. So Denny still having his hands full.
Well, Denny told me this morning their mindset is different. They have a win in the bank. They're in the playoffs. They're here to win the race. That's their one and only goal, if they can.
Tell you one thing, that guy said on that pit box, he's serious. I know that.
88 laps to go in the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas, presented by Jiffy Lube. 83 laps to go in Las Vegas. There go the leaders. Kurt Busch leading Kevin Harvick by just 1/4 of a second. Let's have a look at today's Credit One Bank ones to watch. Jeff.
Yeah, over the last 6 races, Joey Logano's finished in the top 10 in all of them without getting a win. Today, I think he's going to change that and go get that win.
You know, Jeff, the last 6 trips to Las Vegas, Brad Keselowski in that 2 car, they've won 3 of those 6 races. Not quite the qualifying effort they were looking for. They qualified 19th. They qualified 19th last week in Atlanta, and it worked out.
Larry Mack, guys, come on, let's be serious here. Kevin Harvick, I mean, he dominated this race last year. He was going for his 3rd win in a row here last year. I got to take the 4 car. Thank y'all for letting me have him. Appreciate it.
Eric Almirola, believe it or not, has never had a top 5 on a 1.5-mile track, but he is running inside the top 5 right now. He sits 4th, and if they can get the tightness out of this car, he might take it all the way to the front.
Well, I'm a sucker for a good story. I don't care that Kurt Busch has not had a top 5 in Vegas in 14 years. They're on a win or bust strategy, and this is Las Vegas. And that's your Credit One Bank ones to watch. Boy, glad I got that in just before Kevin Harvick made the pass.
Kevin, who did you say?
Oh, Daryl. New leader, Kevin Harvick.
Mike, I'm just a firm believer in the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Oh, really? Watch this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, watch that.
Yeah. Hey, watch this. Hey, watch that. Well, we got 80 laps. I mean, we still got a lot of racing to go here, so anything can happen.
That's right. It's win or
bust. A bunch
bust.
of racing still have to go. Don't forget about Kyle Busch. Don't count him out. He's in 8th place after going down a lap.
And he just ran a 31 flat, Jeff. Harvick is running 31.05, and so is Keselowski. Everybody else is a couple of tenths slower than that group.
And the speeds have picked up slightly. We were in the mid-31s there for a long time, and now we're down in the low 31s. So I think maybe the track temps cooled down a little bit, and these guys have picked up a little bit of speed. But I still think, Mike, this is a great pace because these cars are more drivable at this speed, I think.
Definitely seeing that sunset and that 1 and 2. You can see right there, those billboards are creating a lot of shade 1 and 2. So that grip's going to go up. There's a cloud coming over right now. If this track cools down, it's going to change the handling a lot on these cars and allow them to be more aggressive.
12th place here, Alex Bowman, Eric Jones. But for the stage breaks, this has been a caution-free race. The only real incidents were pit road penalties to Kyle Larson, Austin Dillon, and Kyle Busch, and everyone has now recovered from those penalties. Those 3 are all back on among the 22 cars that are on the lead lap.
And we'll keep an eye on this 19 car because I really feel like he's a car that gets better, or he doesn't slow down as much as some of the other guys does. Let's see if he can work his way back up from 14th right now. He was one of our leaders early on, but he's had a falling back here later in the race.
Paul Menard, top 15 right now. He's the 7th Ford running for the Wood Brothers. Restarted 19th, now 15th.
Saw Leonard Wood down the garage this morning.
Yeah.
Looks like he could still be the crew chief on that car if he wanted to.
How about Kyle Busch in 8th place on the right of your screen, Matt?
Mike pulling triple duty this weekend. Now, ride quality has always been a challenge here at Las Vegas. And Jeff, back on the road courses, you used to always tape up the palm of your hand to help with wear and tear. For Kyle Busch, his challenge has always been the heels of his feet, not getting blistered from the heat, but from bouncing on the floorboard, very tender. You're in the throttle so much here, the left foot really takes a beating. So he has this kind of foam that he has put around his heels to try to give extra comfort on these runs here at Las Vegas. In the past, he's used the booties on the outside of his foot. Today, he's tried this, putting this kind of foam padding right up around his heels because that left foot especially is riding right on the floorboard.
You see Brad Keselowski moving to 3rd, Kurt Busch to 4th. So Harvick, Logano, Keselowski, 3 Fords out front. Kurt Busch's Chevrolet in 4th, and the first Toyota is Denny Hamlin in 6th with 74 laps to go. Two of the best pound-per-pound fighters on the planet put their perfect records on the line. Errol Spence Jr. takes on Mikey Garcia. World Welterweight Championship, March 16th, live on pay-per-view. Part of Fox Premier Boxing Champions. Kevin Harvick out in front now by 1 second over Joey Logano. Brad Keselowski 2 back. So how about our Duracell power to the finish? How does Kevin Harvick power to the finish here?
Well, it's so tight between he and Joey Logano. Just can't afford to make any mistakes. So you got to get to pit road when that green flag stop happens, if it happens under green, and then you cannot speed, and you've got to get in that box. But what about the tire spin, Darrell?
See, I think that could be the X factor in this, who wins this race, because Kevin Harvick time and time again he's had the fastest pit stop, but he can't get out of his pit box. If it comes down to a drag race, he's going to lose, and if you're not in the front, I don't know if he can win or not.
And then handling, Mike.
Yep. Got to keep a handle on it and get that thing powered to the finish. Now, David Reagan just made his pit stop and came out, Larry. That leaves Kyle Larson and Kurt Busch still out there, but for how long?
Yeah, Mike, it's a really tight window. Because of them pitting on 145, which was 122 laps to go, they're going to have to pit somewhere when this says about 60 to 62 laps to go. It's a real small window, much smaller than the other competitors that pitted there on lap 163.
I'll tell you what, that Kyle Busch, he's moving his way back up through here, Mike. He's up to 6th place now, and got a pretty good race car. I wouldn't count him out just yet.
We can see some damage on the right side of the 88 there. He got in the wall. He's going to have to be real careful of those tire rubs.
Up high there behind Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, I think the air
got him.
Took the air off of him, brushed that wall. But boy, with these flared fenders now, it just doesn't take much contact with that wall to fold those fenders in on the tires to cut a tire.
I think the air gremlins got him.
Bowman holds 11th behind, rather up ahead of him, Clint Boyer, 10th place car. Jamie?
Well, Clint Boyer came into this race with high expectations. He had tested here, and he really liked what he saw. But yesterday in practice, he was so tired of his car and how loose it was. He said, let's just throw it on the truck and bring the backup out. Well, they didn't do that, and Mike Bugaravich's crew chief went to work on it. Felt like he had a handle on where they went wrong yesterday, but today is not the case. He has just been extremely loose. They have made huge changes to this race car, made it better at times, but he's still saying it's not good, although this is the first time he's been in the top 10.
Well, one of his teammates in the top 5, Eric Almirola, 6 straight top 10s on 1.5-mile tracks, and here he is in 5th place. We listened in.
Can't go any faster. I'm going to knock the wall down on the exit of turn 4, and I'm not going to do that running 5th.
The guys you're racing are half a car width higher on exit of 4.
Well, my car won't do that. It wants to go straight when I get a half a car length off the white line.
Obviously lacking in some front tire grip, Eric Almirola.
Well, he needs to stay on the white line.
Hold that white line.
The best advice I can give you, that's what it takes, stay on that white line.
But he's listening to his crew chief right there.
He's trying anyway. I'll give him credit for that.
So here are your Toyota top performers. You just saw Kyle Busch jump up to 5th. He is the highest Toyota. Denny Hamlin in 7th. And Martin Truex fell back quite a bit from being 6th on the restart. Said he was chattering the right front tire, Matt told us, but now he's coming back toward the front. That's been a good long run car today. He is 16th and 11th. Eric Jones 16th.
And you mentioned Kyle Busch. He's up to 5th place. Lap time wise, he's as quick or quicker than our leader almost every lap. So Kyle Busch driving hard, trying to make up that deficit. He just might be able to do it.
So 3 Fords out front, Harvick, Logano, Keselowski. Kurt Busch, the first Chevrolet in 4th, and we're right down to the close to the end of the window here for him to make it to pit road. And his younger brother Kyle is the first Toyota in 5th. 60 laps to go in Las Vegas. We'll take you Fox side by side. We have a new leader in Monster Energy Cup Series racing from Las Vegas on Fox, presented by Jiffy Lube. Joey Logano got a big run on Kevin Harvick. Took him about 2 laps to seal the deal, but now Logano, who's led 46 laps today to Harvick's 88, is back in front.
Yeah, Joey got up high. I mean, he's really running the high line right up next to that wall. He got so much momentum, he was able to go right around Kevin Harvick. I don't know if Harvick's going to retaliate here a little bit and try that line maybe, but it's not over by any means. These are going to battle it out.
Well, what I liked about that move, Joey Logano, it's just become such a smart racer. He moved down to the bottom right in front of Kevin Harvick after he passed him.
Good place for Denny Hamlin. Chase Elliott on pit road. Alex Bowman had to make a stop because of that right rear damage. The right rear tire was going flat, and you all saw that as we were side by side. Now 54 laps to go. So we're halfway through the final stage. And here's Almirola. Tires, Sunoco race fuel, and a chassis adjustment for Almirola.
Yeah, really nice stop.
Ryan Preece is in. Brad Keselowski in the pit lane. Denny Hamlin. Clint Bowyer and Martin Truex.
I just wonder if this move by Brad Keselowski and also Kurt Busch coming in as early. We knew Kurt Busch had to come in, but the two of Brad Keselowski could have stayed out there longer. With him coming, is that going to force our leaders? And yes, it does. Both leaders on pit road.
Logano and Harvick mirroring each other, all in the pit lane and pretty much splitting this final stage in half. Hamlin away.
Not a great stop by Hamlin. And look who our new leader is.
And when it comes to making pit stops, I'll put my money on that 18 bunch every time because they are amazing in the pits.
Now let's see how this affects Kevin Harvick coming out of these pits. If he spins the tires again, Joey Logano gets a pretty nice launch.
Can't get that thing to go.
Can't get going.
It's terrible. It's got to be so frustrating for that pit crew and for Kevin and the whole crowd because they're making great stops, but he can't get going.
And at most tracks, that #1 pit stall would be preferred.
Yeah. Mike, I just tell you, those concrete pit boxes, everything lays on top of the surface. And so there's just something rubber, too much rubber in that pit box, or I don't know what the problem is, but they definitely got an issue with that pit box.
Now, prior to the stop, they were just 0.4 of a second apart, Logano and Harvick. That gap's going to be magnified now. So Kyle Busch is your leader. Only led 13 laps today. On the last green flag cycle, Kyle nearly missed his pit coming in and was speeding.
And Mike, I know the viewers at home probably know that, but he's going for his 3rd win of the weekend. He won in the Truck Series, he won in the Xfinity Series yesterday, and he's got a shot at doing the clean sweep if he can win today.
And something he's never done here in his home track at Las Vegas.
And there's just something about a home track, home field advantage, it's motivation.
So you saw Daniel Suarez, who's up to 3rd. Austin Dillon has rebounded from his speeding penalty to 4th. Jimmy Johnson 5th. Matt DiBenedetto 6th.
Much cleaner entry this time.
Yes, here's your leader. Kyle Busch trying for the weekend sweep.
And his 198th win in all 3 series combined. Just put that in your funkin' wagon and think about it.
Well, money stop is what we talked about. Make no mistakes.
These guys are good, man. They are so good.
Even time for a little chassis adjustment there on the left rear.
And he got out of his pit box. He didn't spin his tire. He took off.
Well, that's an excellent stop. Our leader, Joey Logano, going into turn 1. You should see Kyle Busch right there on the left on the apron getting up to speed.
Well, you saw Joey, who the big lead he has now on Kevin Harvick after what happened on pit road. But what about Logano, Matt?
Mike, Joey Logano reporting to his team that he felt a tire vibration. Todd Gordon had his pit crew look at the pit stop on the DVR on the pit box. All the lugs from their appearance appear to be tight. So that's what they relayed to Joey, and Joey just said 10-4.
I can only think back to last week at Atlanta, one of the last trips to pit road, a loose wheel on that 22 car. Is this deja vu?
Stenhouse pits from third place, or rather Stenhouse is the leader. Suarez pits from third place.
Been impressed with that 17 car today. They have really won. They've had a great race, a great day for them.
.44 laps to go. How about a quick word from Duracell?
This is the #1 trusted brand.
44 to go. Stenhouse and Austin Dillon. Right now, because of green flag stops, they are the 2 lead lap cars. Now, Ryan Blaney, 1 lap down, has not stopped, nor has Ryan Newman, who's also 1 lap down. We're hearing the leader is coming this time.
Mike, they almost have to come. They're just about to the end of the window as far as the 17 and the 3 of Austin Dillon.
And here comes Ricky Stenhouse.
He's coming in hot, up high up, swooping down into pit lane. I think got her under control though.
And 15 seconds behind him comes Dillon.
Now he's up on the high side. I don't think he's coming this time.
Austin Dillon stays out and takes over the lead. 4 fresh good years for Stenhouse, and he's away. So now Austin Dillon has 10 cars, 11 cars behind him on the lead lap. That's Ryan Blaney in the pit lane, who was one of those cars that had yet to pit.
What a tough day Ryan Blaney has had. I think he's had a fast race car, but ever since they had that issue early on in this race on pit road, he's just not been able to climb his way back up onto the lead lap.
So Logano cycles back up to second as we wait for Austin Dillon to make his stop.
Pretty heavy traffic right now for Joey Logano and Kevin Harvick, and great battle right here. Brad Keselowski and Kevin Harvick.
Third place.
That 2 car, is he not amazing? Late in the day, here he comes.
And Austin Dillon pits from the lead with 41 laps to go.
When I talk to Brad Keselowski and I talk to Paul Wolf, these guys have so much confidence in each other, and they trust each other, and that's why you see them at the end of the day up here fighting for maybe another win.
And the one difference I see between the 22 of Joey Logano and the 2 of Brad Keselowski versus the 4 of Harvick, Harvick can't seem to run that high line down in 3 and 4. He's really trapped down in this bottom lane, and it just seems like he's not able to fend off those big runs that come from the top by Keselowski and the 22 of Logano. Jamie?
And Brad Keselowski in the 2, remember he started back in 19th. They've made such minimal changes to this car, not a single chassis adjustment all day, only air pressure. Now, right before the last stop, actually about 15 laps before the last stop, Brad radioed to his team that he had gotten into the wall in the right rear, and he said it was affecting the car. He said, this old girl's got her tongue hanging out. Well, they made another air pressure adjustment, guys, and she's setting sail. I think it helped.
He narrowed it up a little bit. I like that.
Joey Logano back into the lead after pit stop, so we'll check on the 22 and see about that vibration when we come back. 33 laps to go in Las Vegas. Here's your Progressive race summary. Joey Logano out in front of his Team Penske teammate, last week's winner, Brad Keselowski, by half a second. 19 cars on the lead lap. We've had 17 lead changes and only the stage breaks for caution flags for a total of 12 laps. Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano were the stage winners. The Busch brothers 4th and 5th. So still 19 lead lap cars with a chance to win it. 6th place.
Mike, I know we don't talk about a whole lot, but those Ford Mustangs have certainly, you wouldn't have never known that they brought a new car out this year, because they have not missed a beat. I mean, we got Ford running 1, 2, 3 right now. Almirola running 6 in a Ford.
Well, I talked to Roger Penske this morning. He was quite proud that last week Team Penske got the first Cup Series NASCAR win for the Ford Mustang race car. And yesterday in Australia, his Penske Mustang got the first Australian supercar win for the new Mustang there.
I saw that.
Well,
yeah, I saw this too.
Yeah, I want to go back and watch these two battling it out. That got really close between the 9 of Chase Elliott. You can see he's on the inside of the 10 of Eric Almirola on that white line. They come up on Michael McDowell. Well, you can. So when Almirola dumped some air on the rear spoiler, it pulled the car, the front of the car almost, up the racetrack on Chase Elliott, forced him to get out of the gas.
CM wings, you like wings? If Chase wins the race, you get 10 free boneless wings when you buy 10 on Monday, or free fried pickles if Chase Elliott finishes in the top 10 at your local Hooters. He is currently 7th with 29 to go.
I've been in a lot of pickles, but I like pickles.
So you look at your top 5, 2 teammates, Logano, Keselowski, 2 brothers, the Busch brothers, who are not teammates, and maybe the outlier there is Kevin Harvick sitting in 3rd. Who do you like?
Well, I picked Joey Logano earlier, but I got to say, Brad Keselowski is working traffic, working these different lines, and making up a lot of ground on his teammate, Joey Logano.
I kind of agree with you that Keselowski looks to me like he might be a little quicker, but I still like Logano. You got to get by him, and maybe it'll happen right here.
Boy, it's going to have to be a slide job.
Teammates.
Man, he made that look easy.
You just waited all day to yell slide job, haven't you?
Well, Brad told us in the pre-race he thought we were going to see it. I didn't know it was going to be him on his teammate.
Well, but for the stage breaks, Larry, it's been a caution-free day. Here we are with 27 laps to go. What do you see?
Yeah, I've been looking at the last 10 late winter, early spring races here at Las Vegas, and we've crossed over the threshold of what the average of the last caution. It's normally roughly 35 to 40 laps to go. We're 26 to go. I still think we're sitting right there on the possibility of having one. And we've actually had one overtime finish here, Mike, back in 2009.
I just think 20 to go. It seems like right around that number, we always seem like somebody has a problem.
How about our pole sitter, Kevin Harvick, currently 3rd, Matt?
He's closing in on Team Penske. He was almost 2 seconds back, but the 2 and 22 battling it out. Harvick has closed in. His biggest issue, he just can't get to the bottom and run the bottom as well as he was earlier in the race.
You know, Matt, last week Kevin had a great car, but he didn't have the best car. Finished 4th. Today, I think he's got a pretty good car, but I don't think he's a match for the 2 and the 22.
Last lap, Harvick and Kyle Busch were a quarter second faster than either Keselowski or Logano.
And I don't think this battle for the lead is over here among teammates. So right there, you saw the 0-0 ahead. Landon Castle ahead of Keselowski ran that high line and took a lot of air off the nose of the 2 car, opened up the door for the 22.
Man, side by side. Roger Penske got to be chewing his fingernails off right now.
Gotta love this.
Go there.
Now,
2 wide, even slow car up here, bottom.
I think Joey Logano might repay the favor of that slide job up in front of his teammate. He does. They can't run side by side too much here because you stall out so much with that big rear spoiler. that'll draw Kevin Harvick right in on these two.
Well, Kevin Harvick's not far behind in that 18 car. He is closing in a hurry too.
Austin Dillon just ahead of the leaders. Last car on the lead lap in 20th.
Mike, I think you use these lap cars. If you figure out how to use them and get a toe off of them, it can really help your lap time. But they can also screw you up. You got to get out of the throttle or you can't make that pass. The guy behind you closes, just like we see here.
Keselowski makes another slide job pass, but Logano saw it coming, anticipated it.
Look behind him, though, Jeff. Here comes Kevin Harvick is coming right there. He's going to be in the picture before another lap or two.
And this is more what we anticipate happening, you know, this time around with this aero package, and we just haven't seen it materialize all day until now.
Well, if these two keep this up, they're going to have company.
Yes, sir. Harvick's there now. He's a player, and Kyle Busch not too far behind. They keep messing around. He'll be a player.
Only so many seats at the table. And here we are, 21 laps to go. And this is looking like it's going to be a whale of a 4-car battle. .16 laps to go. Joey Logano has extended his lead by running the high side of the racetrack in turns 3 and 4 faster than either Keselowski or Harvick on the bottom. Kyle Busch has been trying to close. He's at 2.7 seconds. He can see the leaders ahead. He just can't quite get there.
He's going to be on the back bumper of Kevin Harvick. I'm not sure he can get any further up in that because Logano really is almost checked out on his teammate here. Keselowski got a pretty comfortable lead at this point. 15 to go.
I'm so impressed with Joey Logano, how he was able to adjust whatever he was able to do in his driving. You know, because the 2-car of Brad Keselowski closed in on him, made the pass, but once he passed him, Logano calmed down, made some changes to what he was doing, and passed his teammate back and has pulled away.
Jeff, I see it all the time. 30 years old is a magic number. You might be a year or two on either side of 30, but that's a magic number. That's when you got it all figured out. You got the skill, you got the experience, you got the knowledge, and you know how to use it. That's what makes Logano so dangerous and so good.
We've not had many 28-year-olds with both 10 years Cup experience and a championship.
Amen.
6th place, Almirola Stenhouse. Fords right now in 5 of the top 7 spots. Kyle Busch, the first Toyota, in 4th. Kurt Busch, the first Chevrolet, in 5th.
Kyle Busch is a man on a mission. I know that. He's going to get to Kevin Harvick here in the next lap or two, and then the next car is Keselowski. I don't see him getting to Joey Logano, but I don't ever count him out.
We listened in on team number 2.
Kyle's running flat, 7 behind Harvick, bottom both in, but really wide arch, doesn't get to the bottom to the line.
Harvick was the slowest of the front 4 that lap.
And he's got 12 laps to close the gap on the leader. I just don't see him doing that, but I do see him getting around Harvick pretty quick.
Well, it just seems like Harvick is locked in on that bottom line. His car can't go higher than that. Every time he tries to search around the racetrack, he gets back to the bottom, but Kyle Busch right behind him can run just about any line and still carry some good speed.
Harvick thinks he's at Atlanta. He's going to eat that white line up. Harvick a little bit on him.
Kevin Harvick's fastest lap of the race was lap 2. Kyle Busch lap 3. Everybody else much later in the race, their cars got their fastest lap. Logano lap 91, Keselowski just about 30 laps ago.
But I think back to last year, in the 4 car at Atlanta, nobody could touch him. This year he finished 4th. Today, got a great car, pretty good car, but the 2 Penske cars are just a little bit better than he is this year.
Talked to Roger Penske this morning about Brad Keselowski passing Mark Donohue on the all-time Team Penske wins in premier races. And Roger says, yes, that's a great accomplishment. Now he's got to go after Rusty Wallace, who has won the most NASCAR races for Team Penske. So there's always a carrot out there, right?
That's a good owner right there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're pretty good, son, but.
The helmet that Brad is wearing is a tribute to Mark Donohue. It looks very much like one in Matt Yoakum's collection that Mark wore when winning Can-Am races for Penske back in the 1970s. Lettered up, and that says Mark on the side. A tribute to one of the all-time greats.
And I raced with his dad, Bob. The Keselowskis have been in racing their whole lives. That's how Brad got his start, driving for his family. And so he's been in this sport his whole life. He loves it. He capitalizes on every opportunity he gets.
Now, something I am watching is Joey Logano coming up on some lap traffic here. He goes to the outside of Jimmy Johnson. If he can get clear of this, that's going to pay huge dividends, because the way the air is flowing around these cars, those lap cars, they've got a lot that they're trying to battle for too, but it causes that lead car to be affected the most.
So 18 cars now on the lead lap with 8 to go. And the gap 0.8 of a second. Logano and Keselowski just ran identical lap times. Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch were each 0.2 quicker. And that's not quite going to be enough.
Yeah, I think Jeff nailed it, though. Getting by the 34 and the 48 here with 22, that was a big advantage for him. Keselowski closed a little bit, but now that Joey Logano is clear of the traffic, he's starting to ease back away a little.
A caution-free day, but for the stage ends with a couple of wild restarts, and the restart traffic was just breathtaking to watch. But here we are with Team Penske out front. Logano 0.75 of a second up on Keselowski, and that time the lap times were all pretty even, within 1/10 among our top 5.
48, 52, 56, 50. So they're just laying down laps pretty much like you said, Mike, identical to each other. That ain't going to get it done.
How about that strategy of Kurt Busch to stay out at the end of stage 2 and then make his stop, as Larry detailed? That's going to pay off. Kurt is in the top 5. Now we've got the battle for 3rd. Harvick, Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch took that high line right up next to the wall, got the momentum. He's going to make the pass on Kevin Harvick down the front here and move into 3rd place.
Yeah, he made that pretty easy.
He did that, yeah, with ease.
After rebound from a speeding penalty.
I don't believe he can get to Keselowski, though. 5 laps and about 4.5 laps to go now.
Yeah, he needs about 10 or 15 more laps, and he would be right there. I don't think Keselowski's given up on this yet, though.
No, he's trying to pull. He's closed the gap back a little bit.
He's a fighter, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look what he did last week. He was sick, gets in the car, goes out there, fights through it, gets the win. And you thought, okay, he takes the lead. He loses it from his teammate Joey Logano, and he still just never gives up.
6th place on the right. Martin Truex coming back into that battle. 6, 7, 8. Almirola, Stenhouse, and Truex looks at the middle as it closes up.
Truex has been back and forth a bunch today. I mean, he'd be back 15th or 16th, and then next thing you know, he's in the top 10 again. Had an up and down day.
But I do think for Roush Fenway Racing to start this season off, they're showing some real gain and promise in the speed in their cars. This would be a really nice finish if Ricky Stenhouse Jr. can pull off this top 10.
Yeah, I mean, you got tip of the hat to those guys because, I mean, you know, they've struggled. The 17, Brian Patty, and whoa, good grief, guys.
They about really struggled right there.
It's not how you're going to finish the top 10 if you keep that up.
Oh, man, he's just side drafted right off the right rear quarter panel of the 10 of Almirola. Gets it done, though.
But you got to love Stenhouse. He's been that way all day. He doesn't take any crap off anybody.
I asked Roger Penske about having to deal with the personalities of 3 very different drivers. And he said, well, I have more sons than I have drivers. He says, so got a lot of experience in that department, but you try to treat them all equally and give them the best possible opportunity to win. And there's the white flag with 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Now, Brad has a win here with a last lap pass.
Oh, big run here coming off of turn 2.
Man, he is. He's up high and got a nice run down the back straightaway. Not sure it's too little too late, but I think he's going to be right there at the back bumper.
3, and you're tracking to the bottom, 3 back on the line.
Kozlowski to the bottom looking. Nose to tail off turn 4.
So close. Wow.
He was there.
Joey Logano scores his first win of the season in his championship defense.
Good job, man. Good job.
The Pennzoil Ford wins the Pennzoil 400.
From last weekend. Awesome job, everyone. Finally, I won here. Yes. Went so close, so low. About the on time. Good job. You and TJ did an awesome job manipulating that. Great job, guys.
And that victory, Logano's 22nd of his career, puts him in the playoffs along with his teammate Brad Keselowski. It's his first Las Vegas win in his 12th try.
They mentioned TJ. Talking about TJ Majors, his spotter, who does an incredibly good job, I think.
The 116th career NASCAR win for Team Penske.
Wow, that's pretty amazing, too. Holy smoly.
Joey Logano's victory was fueled by Sunoco. Sunoco fueling victories all season long.
Always good when your sponsors.
Yeah, when you win your sponsor's
race.
Get on out there and tear up that Pennzoil logo.
That's a pretty good thing.
That was fun.
Yeah, you know, you were talking about TJ Majors. I got to believe that last corner, he had an earful of TJ as Brad Keselowski was trying to get alongside. I thought they were going to touch off of turn 4.
But I say this often. Doesn't do any good to have a big lead if you're not going to use it. And Brad Keselowski used his lead all up at the end.
Team Penske, last lap. Here it is.
So close.
Did you see how the air moved that car around? He knew he had it right there. As soon as he came off of turn 4, the car was straight. You could see that checkered flag.
Nice job, buddy. It's a young man with an incredible amount of talent.
10-year veteran of the Cup Series, NASCAR's highest level. Came into it at age 18. And 10 years later, won himself the championship. And now defending that title, he has his first victory, and he's in the playoffs for 2019.
And so is his teammate. Pretty good couple of weeks that the Penske boys have had.
Absolutely. Let's go down to the start-finish line. Matt Yoakum.
And number 22 takes the 22nd win of your career, but it wasn't easy. Slide job, side by side with your teammate. Did you conjure up comments from the captain about how you race teammates, the rules?
He says race, and I told everyone from Pennzoil today, they said this race is bigger than the Daytona 500 for them to win the Pennzoil 400. And I said, we're going to be doing donuts in that infield after the race.
And you did.
We were able to do it. So what a great race. You guys enjoy that? Man, what a great race. Brad and I were so evenly matched, and the way the draft works, you just can't drive away. And my car got tight there the last 5-6 laps, and Brad was catching me so quick, and I got stuck behind a lap car, and I was like, oh no. But man, it was so close, and to be able to get it there at the end, that was a lot of fun. My heart's still running, but what a great team to get back in victory lane after last year. To get us back into the playoffs, that's a nice feeling, and we can go on and race aggressively towards the chase or playoffs.
What were you thinking when you looked up in the mirror and you saw him making his attempt on the last lap coming down the backstretch?
Yeah, I figured he's gonna run that wall down there, and he did, and he made up more time than I thought he would. And then I thought, man, I still got to run the wall. I think that's where I got to run to beat him. And when he went, I knew he was going to go to wherever I didn't. And he made such a good run down there at the bottom. I was like, so tight, grinding the fronts off, almost hit the wall, and was able to just barely clear him there at the end to be able to bring it to victory lane. So, Team Penske 1-2 shows the speed we got. We had a lot of speed last week. Brad was able to get it. And this week, obviously, with him second and us first, what a great, great day for Team Penske and Ford.
Welcome to playoffs 2019.
Hell yeah.
And Brad Keselowski starts mid-pack today, even taps the wall at one point, and it seemed like your car was the best it had been all day long. If you had one more lap, though, would you have anything for Joey Logano?
I sure like to find out, Jamie, but you're right. Discount Tire Ford Mustang was really strong, and thought it was a pretty good race. I passed Joey with the lap traffic there and caught a break there, and then lap traffic cost me the lead to Joey, and he pulled a good slide job, and I tried to pull it back, and I was just touch too nice to him, but it's all right. It was a really good day. Really happy for Team Penske and our team.
2 weeks in a row, Team Penske in victory lane. In 2016, it was a 1-2 finish. Brad was the winner. Joey was second. More after this. Joey Logano has made it to victory lane after the obligatory burnouts and a nice drift job around the quarter mile to get there. So here are your standings. Your 3 winners are in the playoffs. 6 drivers have earned playoff points, including Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Kyle Larson. The break point